Amit.
Andrew, you right?
I'm good. I'm good. How's things? All good?
Yeah, very good, very good.
The interesting thing is obviously that I need to address the fact that this is the third show running and we're wearing exactly the same clothes.
This is true. We're doing a bit of a catch-up, giving away our trade secrets.
Exactly. Well, I have to because otherwise it might be like, hold on, those guys are wearing exactly the same thing.
For our podcast listeners.
Oh no, yeah, I just burn it for our podcast listeners. Anyway, yeah, we're doing a bit of a catch up, guys. So you most likely, if you're hearing this show now, obviously, hi, welcome to Web3 Digest with me and Amit. We've kind of missed a couple of weeks, and we wanted to get our head that is full of information and give it to you guys. So we've kind of do some couple of different recordings today, and kind of sort of release them over the next few days. You're hearing to this, but anyway, so. We wanted to do a bit of a catch-up show today, right? So we've spoken about some of the NFTs that we've kind of jumped in on, and some of our friends and some of the other kind of colleagues have jumped in on. So we thought it might be quite cool to talk about, well, what's happening with them, right? So, is it just a bit of a trophy? Is it sitting in your wallet and kind of showing off at parties and having some fun around it? The amount of stories that I've managed to pull out of some of these things is pretty cool. But I thought it might be good. We thought it might be good, guys, to catch up on some of those stories. And we wanted to jump in on one that's still currently ongoing, right? At the moment.
This is a story that just keeps developing.
Keeps developing. So you've heard us talk before about goblins.
Yeah.
And kind of Goblin Town. This is a project that we jumped in on super early. Not crazy early, super early, I think is probably the word that we look for. And at the time it didn't know who was behind the project, didn't know, no Discord, no roadmap, nothing. It was kind of very much a website that told you there was no Discord, no website, no nothing. And obviously they released these goblins, right?
Yeah, it was one of those that I think came to our attention because a couple of, I guess, prominent people started talking about them.
That's right, yeah.
And and basically they were saying, look, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is.
No.
Got no idea who's behind it.
Yeah.
But there's a project here which just looks really interesting, and it's called Goblin Town. And you look at the artwork, and it's like, sort of hand drawn, these kind of goblins or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it was intriguing enough. We were sat in the office, and I said to you, Andrew, this is just like, this isn't going away. People keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like just tempted to grab one.
Yeah.
And so we did, and I think it's been really interesting. I think firstly, within about 3 or 4 days of us grabbing one of these,
went crazy.
It just went absolutely crazy in terms of
valuation,
demand, evaluation, and all those. And that kind of has slowly sort of trickled down, and we didn't sell out. I think for us at the moment, it's very much like, okay, where is this going? Right?
And we're enjoying the journey.
And the journey is really key. I think, like what you said. But I think so much has happened. I think first and foremost, so
at NFT New York, just prior to that, where they found out who was behind it.
Right, but even further.
Goblin.
Yeah,
we haven't spoken about Goblin.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. So Goblin Town obviously kind of launched, and we got a couple of goblins there, and then something called Goblin kind of appeared. All their communication is through Twitter. You see the new space agency they've got?
Yeah.
Right. So all of their communication, or if it's a space agency, right? All of their communication is through Twitter. They don't have a Discord still, and it's very public in that sense. So everyone is seeing everything that's happening. They launched something called Goblin, which essentially was burgers, right?
Goblin burgers.
Goblin burgers. So then what was that? That was,
we're doing a show on
goblins. Actually, it might be a whole show on goblins, which would be pretty cool. But so to walk us through how we got those the burgers.
So basically what they said was, they basically announced that everyone who holds a Goblin NFT is entitled to create their own burger for their Goblin.
Yeah.
Right, because apparently goblins love burgers, right? And again, I think just maybe go back a step. Every experience of everything they've created from a user experience perspective has just been on a different level.
Yeah.
So even with this burger, you're ultimately creating your own NFT.
Yeah.
You're creating your own burger design.
Yeah.
Choosing the type of bun and whatever wrap fillings and all that kind of stuff that you want to put in there. From the sauces to the drinks and all that kind of stuff. but it just perfectly kind of forms into a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
You then mint that artwork into an NFT, and then that becomes your Goblin Burger NFT.
Yeah.
And the total cost of that was nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So it was basically a gift to everyone who'd already
invested in Goblin. Yeah.
And then straight away that has a valuation, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like here's almost like a bit of a cash gift.
Yes.
Right? If you choose to cash it in. Obviously, we don't do that.
No.
So again, we missed out on that opportunity as well.
We're on the ride though.
We're on the ride. The journey's cool. The
Yeah.
journey's cool. So then they, I think a week before NFT NYC.
Week before NFT, yeah.
I think they had to come out and say,
Yeah,
look, we're the guys who are behind this, and it turns out that they're fairly well known within the space.
Yeah, it's called Truth is and Illuminati. Those are, and they've got a couple of other different projects. They're performance artists, smart dudes in this space.
Yeah, and then obviously we went to NFT NYC, and the whole, I think the biggest buzz that was sort of created from the whole event was from goblins, right? So not only now, did everyone have these NFT burgers and stuff?
Yeah.
They'd actually had people dressed up as goblins in character.
That's right.
All day, all night.
Yeah.
Going around Manhattan.
Yeah.
They'd also created these goblin burger vans.
That's right. You get free burgers.
Giving away free burgers, right?
Yeah.
And again, people were like looking for these things. We found one of them.
Yeah. Got some pictures. Yeah.
It's just a very cool experience. Like they transitioned from that NFT space
to IRL
for that real life experience.
Yeah.
And what's happened on the back of it is that community's just got stronger and stronger and stronger.
Totally.
Right. And I think one thing that these guys have got right, where some other projects possibly haven't, is they understand that actually to keep that community engaged, things have to keep happening. Yeah,
they have to keep happening, and they've also very cleverly not said what's happening.
Correct.
It's a constant kind of things are happening, but and you don't know what direction it's going to take, but it's very well executed every single point.
Exactly. And I think what it is there's a story that's being created.
Completely.
Now people have figured out that, okay, actually this is part of the story.
Yeah.
The first thing was there's a goblin, and then the goblin basically likes burgers.
Loves burgers.
So now the goblin has a burger.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to let you kind of tell the next part of the story now, because I think you understand it
for the baiting.
Much more than I do.
So what they started to talk about now was so what happens is obviously and still again it's hearsay and it's thought and it's people talking around it. So as much as they've now spoken about baiting, so they've built a whole story around this and basically you can use a combination of your goblin burgers, your McGoblin burgers, now to bait something called a grumble. Grumble. So these grumbles are a real problem, what they've done is they've created a new experience. So on the Goblin Town website, they released the URL, you jump on the URL. What's interesting this time is that they've actually got a demo. They didn't have a demo from a Goblin.
True.
So you could only experience the build of your Happy Meal or your McGoblin meal through if you had the NFT. This time they've actually done a demo, and this is something that we can share and you can all go and have a look. And it's just phenomenal. So you've got a dude there that's some sort of kind of weird goblin, and he's telling you the tale of kind of the grumbles, right, and how you catch them, and how you kind of walk through this process. It's an interactive process. You click on it, you answer questions. It's all in the narrative and the cartoon and the artwork, and they walk you through the whole process. So it's then kind of how many do you want? Do you want a hot dog in there as well? Do you want to kind of mix it up? And then depending on how many you give, you might get a different type of grumble. And then obviously it's called baiting. This is what's happening at the moment. I think it's...
And then on the back of it, whatever burgers you use to bait the grumbles, those burgers get burned. So those NFTs are actually being lost now. So
that's right. So now, exactly. So now what you've got is that, as you said, you're burning that NFT. And as you burn that NFT, obviously, then the overall number of McGoblins goes down as well, right? So
no, the goblins, the McGoblins.
McGoblins, yeah. So the capacity, So what's interesting about that, obviously, is now it's a real dilemma for people, right? It's like, should should I use my Goblin? And at the moment, a Goblin is $1,700, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? It's about 1 ETH or something.
Yes.
So $1,700, you know, and should I catch one of these grumbles? And then what is it worth? One of those dudes.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what's going on at the moment, right? I mean, you can't do it yet.
You can
Oh, you can do it now,
Yeah.
right? They're still allowing it, right? So so while this is going on, if that isn't enough, what they've started to do is they've launched, I can't remember the name of the space agency that's come up, but they've now launched another Twitter account, and you know that it's real because the same people that are goblins follow this, and you kind of get the connectivity tissue, and they very active on there. So now they're talking about the roadmap. They put a little, did you watch the roadmap video?
No, I haven't seen it.
And it's a scribble of the same guy that was talking about grumbles, and then it's kind of this roadmap. And now people say, okay, is that the roadmap? Like, where's it going? I mean, it really is. It really is. Crazy as it sounds, it's wildly exciting, right? And I think what they've managed to do is they've managed to capture the attention of the community to the point where, I mean, famously, you know, they took on a Twitter Spaces and they just spoke in Goblin talk for, I can't remember how much.
3 hours.
3 hours Goblin talk. Even they had a party, an event at NYC New York. The head Goblin got up and spoke Goblin on stage for 2 minutes. And then he started speaking like properly, but still speaking in Goblin. And I was listening to a Spaces the other day where there was like 3 of the team from Goblin Town, and they were talking about who does the best Goblin like speak. And the other thing was quite interesting. So even though they were on Twitter Spaces, the way they've designed it is that not everyone knows everything in the roadmap. So, and there's one guy called Alistair that they don't tell anything because he leaks stuff. So it's kind of like, it's quite interesting. So I think what's interesting at the moment, still bearing in mind, guys, there's no end game here. So there's no kind of, we're launching a game, which is very unique and very different, because most of the other you know, NFT projects, let's say, that are out there at the moment that aren't just kind of your profile pic or whatever, they do have something, and they're using that as an encouragement to get people to buy the Goblin. This is purely experiential, right?
100%.
That's it.
Yeah, this is just all about creativity,
Exactly.
storytelling,
Yeah.
and now that they've got a fully engaged audience, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, I think, you know, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with this project or the space, and are thinking, why are these grown men with a combined age of 90 almost, right? Quick maths there, right? Combined age of 90. Why are they talking about goblins and grumbles and baiting using the goblin burgers? Just for some real context, because I felt like I needed to justify the reason why we were doing this show.
Right.
I just did a quick grab of my laptop, and so far this project has traded 46,100 ETH. Okay.
In real money?
In real money, that's lots of zeros. $783 million. 700,000.
$783 million.
Yeah. So just under $784 million has been.
What's the royalties on? 12 and a half.
Can't remember on this one.
Yeah, I think it's around that.
Yeah. So I mean, look. So ultimately, the creators of this have done pretty well so far, right?
Yeah.
So it was a free mint. So basically, there's a royalty that's tied into this. So again, the quality of the work. If you do get time, Google Goblin Town. Go and have a look at the website and the demo that Andrew mentioned.
Yeah, and also the inspirational projects that have jumped on the back of it. Yeah. So you've got Goblin birds, stray dogs, Goblin bats. You know, and I mean, there's other projects that have launched on the back of this. Obviously, they're not anywhere close to the valuation, but they're fun. They're inspiring other people to create projects as well.
Correct. So the market cap right now, I'm guessing, is still pretty significant.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual revenue generated by the creators, depending on what that royalty fee is somewhere between $50 and $100 million so far. Yeah. For what is ultimately a 3.5 month project so far.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly as well, as you found out, a week.
They from ideation to launch, it took them a week to get going.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just look. This is definitely an outlier in terms of project.
Yes, completely. Yeah.
You know, we kind of laugh. Andrew didn't mention that we kind of went to bed one night at New York at the event at NFT NYC.
I was in my pajamas.
Saw a tweet saying, "Hey, we're having a Goblin party," and we both got out of bed post midnight and jumped in a cab.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, this, if you're getting two old sods like me and him to get out of bed in the middle of the night to go to a party, then they're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
And we went there and it was crazy.
Yeah, mental.
Right?
Mental.
And,
loads of goblins on and around, screaming in your face. Goblin town burgers all over the joint, getting out free burgers. The only thing I would say is the goblins are not very Hindu friendly, right? It's all mainly, it's all beef.
Yeah, I'm so gay, though, to be fair.
So but yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting, as you said about this project, is we wanted to kind of give you an update on some of these projects, and we'll jump in on some of the other projects we've got as well in some of the other shows. But I think what's interesting about this at the moment is just the momentum that it carries. And look, what's interesting as well is it's a very public engagement. So on most of the other projects that we're involved in and that we're aware of, and people that jumped in on, they tend to keep things within closed community, either on Discord or Telegram, and that's part of the buzz. But this community piece is like massively collective and public. So I think that's also why it's gaining the momentum and attraction, the quality of the artwork, the quality of the project, and also the fact that you can just see, jump and have a look at Goblin and the new space station. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, like the new accounts that they're launching, and they're all obviously kind of interacting with each other, and they still to this day speak in Goblin talk. You can kind of work it out. I don't know how they get that font on there, but it's Goblin talk, so you kind of have to, and that's part of fun. Trying to decipher what people are saying is fun.
Yeah, I've got quite good at it now.
Ever?
I've got like,
your best Goblin impression. We'll do that in a couple of weeks.
Next Sunday.
Exactly.
But no, cool. Look, and I think, like you said, it's good to share some.
That's it, guys. So what we'll do is, we're trying to kind of pull in a bit of a different format for this. So, again, 15-minute burns, guys, that we jump in and we kind of talk around these projects, and essentially kind of give you guys an update. But we wanted to kind of give you an update on that. Upcoming shows, we're going to kind of give you an update on some of the other projects that are out there at the moment. I took a bit of a deep dive into the kind of whitelist environment and all of these free mints that are going on at the moment. There's quite a popular trend for free mint, and for those of you who don't know, that means that you're not actually paying for an NFT, you're getting it free and you're paying gas fees on that. Also jumped into the kind of Solana space, which is gaining some traction as a movement for NFTs. So we've got kind of some cool things that we want to kind of talk about and jump into kind of rolling forward, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Amit, see you next time.
See you guys.
Cheers. Bye.